Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to another episode of Truth from the Booth. I am your host, DJ Prophet, and on today's episode, we have a very, very special guest. I know I say that every week because every week it is nothing but the truth. Today, all the way live from NYC, we have my brother from another mother, DJ Mode. Not only is DJ Mode an amazing, excellent, world-renowned DJ. He is also the founder of My Music Experience. He's a partner in Symphony Number 3 Rum. All right. And he's also the musical director for the NYC Football Club, holding it down in stadiums, at events, at exquisite corporate events. This is the man of the hour every hour. He is DJ Mode. Welcome to Truth from the Booth, my man.
Thank you, Prophet. Appreciate you having me on, man. This is exciting. I'm finally get to be a part of this. And I know you've been working on this for a bit, and I'm happy to come on.
Oh, yes, and I'm so grateful to have you. We've had many conversations over the years throughout our careers, going back, probably 15 years, I believe, you and I, through Cousin Joe, right, is where we got he was basically our cross promoter. He's like, I got this DJ in New York. You got to meet him. He's dope. And I'm sure he was saying, I got this cousin in Cali who's trying to DJ. You should teach him.
Absolutely not. That's not at all what he said. You're being quite humble, my guy. Yeah,
I try.
And
But we crossed paths.
we struck up a great relationship, man, right at that time, and still going strong, man.
Yes, definitely. And we both come a long way. I wanted to run through a little bit of more of your resume, okay, just to let the people know who may not have a clue. But DJ for the US Open, DJ for Cadillac, the NBA, Madison Square Garden, Major League Baseball. As I mentioned, the NYC Football Club. You are the NBA All-Star parties, I believe. You're really locked in on this major corporate angle, which is amazing and something to be very proud of. But I want to take it back before all of this corporate and big success to the bare beginnings. Okay, I know that music was a big part of your household as a child, but I want to know, who were your influences? Who were the DJs you looked up to? What was your first experience with vinyl, your first party? Take me back to the origin story of DJ Mode.
Of course, man, happy to. So for me, it was, again, like the typical, New Yorker experience, right? Where the music's everywhere. You're hearing it blasting out of cars and on the block with the speakers and the kind of the boom boxes and everything like that. But for me, it was like riding around with my family. I would say about 6, 7, 8 around there is when I started asking the questions about the music and wanting my own CDs, wanting like to get those things. And so for me, I was, we would listen to the radio all the time. You have the mix show DJs, Red Alert is on, and I'm just not understanding why the full song isn't playing. Like, how's he transitioning in and out of things so seamlessly? And he's like, it's boom, 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 back to back. You're hearing a verse or two of a record, and then it's going to other things. Kind of like piqued my curiosity there. And then it was only up until I was like 12 years old where I asked for my first set of turntables and got a pair of XL 500 Gemini decks that were terrible, and we needed the quarter to kind of like
hold down the needle.
To hold down the needle, and I got maybe a handful of records, whatever it was that we could afford at the time, and that was like my intro to it. I had an uncle who DJ'd, so I was able to kind of like mess around on his like official techniques, and kind of he had a sick record collection, and I was like aspired to that, and I saw that as like, wow, I really, wanted to emulate that. And so from that relationship, he was able to like point me in the right direction, start listening to Jam Master Jay. Here's how he uses the turntable as an instrument. So he was one of the biggest, I would say, in the beginning influences for me. And then, of course, Funk Master Flex on the radio. I never got into kind of talking on the mic like as he did. But again, just the way he rocked the party, the way that he kept the energy up in an event or, on the radio for me, because I was too young to go anywhere, and, that he'd be spinning at, was really exciting to me. So that was probably my intro into it.
And in those early stages, was this when you started collecting the music? Was it was based in hip hop and what you were hearing on the radio, or was it a wider dynamic because of the older people that were around you as well? You mentioned your uncle was DJing, so you had access probably to disco and early '80s stuff. When did the open format kind of hit you as far as the infinite universe of music?
For sure. Like for me, like when I began to collect on my own and just getting my own collection from like my weekend job and things like that, whatever I would purchase was generally hip hop, right? Because I knew I would spin that. I knew that was the record that I needed to collect to be like Funk Master Flex or Jam Master Jay. But as a fan, I had grown up listening to such an eclectic mix of music. And the hip hop was just so readily available. I would say hip hop and reggae were immediately like the two genres that I gravitated towards learning on. And then obviously I would watch turntablist videos. I really wanted to scratch and cut and beat juggle and things like that. But I was still listening to like rock music. I was like big into Green Day, big into Linkin Park, big into, kind of like that 90s rock scene. And then also the dance stuff that started happening that was like the Z100 poppy EDM kind of things. Like those were exciting to me, but I didn't see myself spinning that. But that all along, that's like just being a fan of it, like I kept on, it was always there. I could hear it. If I was like, oh, I could mix this hip hop record over that house record, or I could do this rock song with that. And when you just deconstruct in your mind, like the way that our brains work, you're going to be able to like kind of find these common elements and everything like that. So I would say when I was interning at the Scratch DJ Academy, learned about Vice, learned about DJ AM, learned about these guys kind of like incorporating more into that. I was like, okay, I need to make the investment in these ideas that I had in my head of how I wanted to spin. I was like, oh, it's possible. Like, it's not the craziest thing to drop a Beatles record. And I had a lot of those records from like my father's collection. My uncle blessed me with a few crates of like some old stuff. He had a bunch of doubles, whatever it was. Like I would get that stuff. So that's when I started incorporating into sets and began like kind of informing like what my style essentially would be.
Dope. There's just amazing, amazing influences, and having the foundation at the internship at the Scratch Academy had to be an incredible experience. Being able to absorb all that information and skill sets from not only the professors but also the DJs coming through. It's almost like a melting pot of. It's almost like Hogwarts, I would
Yeah.
say, where you
Very
get a
lit.
little bit of everybody's magic and apply it to your own. Right? Am I right on
Absolutely.
that?
Yeah, no, you hit the nail right on the head. Because for me, it was like that's why I went to Scratch. Like to me, it wasn't to learn. I didn't feel that way. I was like, I know that I need to be around the best. I know that these like it was kind of a meeting of the minds, and I knew that if I wanted to make this, a career, if I wanted to make this my future, I needed to get around some guys that really could see the vision of like, oh, this could be an actual viable career. This can be something that, has longevity. And then also just me being just kind of like a DJ and music nerd, wanting to be around those guys to kind of like get any information that I can. So like on a production tip, you have DJ Evil D there, Premier's there. They're doing these incredible symposiums, and I'm with, arm's length within them. So I'm getting to work with Jam Master Jay and watching him and just hearing him speak. He didn't have to be DJing. If you heard him speak about music, you kind of like through osmosis, you're just like you're absorbing all that information, and you're being like, wow, I never thought of it like that. Wow, pacing an evening, just the way like he's so meticulous about how and when records need to be played. We had Lovebug Starsky. Just you got to see into this like super creative minds, man. And so for me, being around that, and then it kind of like ignited all the friendly competition, invited all the community, started finding like a bunch of dudes would click up and start spending time together, learning different scratches. And it just became this really awesome, kind of like team building that, a bunch of DJs that were in New York were able to kind of like congregate at and share ideas. It was dope.
So dope. That is like a DJ dream sequence, I believe. Going to Master Jedi school with the best of the best, learning from Yoda, Obi-Wan, and some of the OGs, with hip hop being, New York being the birthplace of hip hop, and having those true OGs. Because as we know, West Coast was a little bit late, even on the sharing of the knowledge. A lot of these DJs out here didn't open as soon as the New York DJ school opened. There was a Scratch Academy out here, which is a little later. Mr. Chalk was the principal there. I know DJ
Hmm.
Hoppa was an instructor, and now they have the Beat Junkie Institute of Sound, where these kids are now getting that similar experience with some of the West Coast legends and the guests that come in, and that's just
Exactly.
that is so dope. I wish I had that coming up. I had my own experience in learning, which was a little bit delayed,
Yeah.
but this inspiration was still there. Watching the videos, catching the live shows whenever you can, and showing up for speaking engagements or live performances from these guys is something that I encourage all the young DJs to go do. Go listen to some OGs. Go, if you have an opportunity to hear them speak about their careers, go do your homework, as my brother Nels used to say. Do your homework on the people that came before you, so that they can put you ahead of where you're at today.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Now,
I want to add to that. I want to piggyback off that because
yeah,
it's like
yeah.
literally like you need to be able to understand the rules, understand how they were made, right? These guys made an art form out of nothing. Like this music didn't exist. They took two turntables, they hooked them up, they did things, they completely broke the kind of like the status quo of how things were done back then in terms of hearing music at a party or hearing, like they changed the landscape of music forever with what they did. And I just think that you're selling yourself short if you don't go and educate yourself on those things. And then also for us, right? Like we got that education, we were around all these DJs, and all you ever wanted to do was not sound exactly like that person. Like
Right.
it was
Don't
like,
be a
it was
biter. Don't
so,
be a
yeah,
biter.
you
Yeah.
cannot be a biter, right? Like that was the biggest thing. And I know we sound crazy saying it now, because now obviously with the world of sharing music and all the things, like the access to art form has just become such an easy thing for people to get into, that they miss those steps of just being like, formulate your style, figure out what your niche is, what your little go-to mixes are that you know is going to get that O factor that people are going to like, oh, like when you drop that in a party, like kind of cultivating that in your bedroom prior to bringing it out to the streets was like second to none. Like that was, you're selling yourself very short if you skip that step, you know?
1000%. I also wanted to compliment on your work ethic as far as being this public eye DJ. You still put in the work as a quote unquote bedroom DJ. You've never lost that work ethic. It's a lot of the content that I see you putting out are you working on mode blends and you work on different combinations and word plays and exposing those to show that you're actually still putting in this work. A lot of people, like I said, just show the highlight reel of the rap edit of what you just the event you just did, but you're actually showing the pre-work of the things you're working on. I think a lot of kids miss out on that because they only see the final product. Now let's talk about that transition from your bedroom to public. Do you remember your first party or your first opportunity to play, and what was the original plan for you to be a DJ? Did you want to be radio, big clubs, neighborhood stuff? What was going on in Mode's mind?
Okay, yeah, that's a great question. For me, it was my first. I'll answer it in two parts. Like the first party that I did was a friend's Sweet 16. So that was my first paid opportunity to go and spin for a Sweet 16. Literally crates of records, the big coffin with it
Yeah.
was a whole ordeal to get to that party and to do it. But I literally, once I did that, I knew. I was like, I want to be a club DJ. I want to do parties. That I've never had that feeling. I was a very like shy child coming up. I was, very soft spoken. And for me, it was like, I'm the captain of the ship. I'm steering this boat. I'm making sure that everyone, and I think that level of kind of like control and also that responsibility on me, like kind of like elevated, you know, my dopamine levels. Like it was like
Yes.
something that just like hit me so deep that I was like, I can't imagine a world in which I'm not doing this, where I'm not entertaining a crowd, where I'm not putting this music together. Because once you start practicing, and then to the other point of like my work ethic and everything like that, it's like if I could turn my brain off, like I can listen to the beeping and the sound of a car, and I'm starting to mix it. I'll tell you the BPM of it, and it's like my brain has gotten, and I think a lot of us have developed that, right? Like it's definitely, I count myself blessed and fortunate to have the gifts that I do. But I know that if I didn't put it down, if I didn't work at it, if I didn't, essentially show the appreciation that I have for the blessing that I've been given, which is to do this for a living, if I didn't like treat it with that reverence and practice as much as I do, again, I just wouldn't feel as fulfilled as I am, right? Because it's like you have the party that lasts maybe 4 hours, and then you come down from that and you're like, all right, what's the next thing? So when I'm creating, when I'm putting together those sets, when I'm just practicing and just being free, that's like a kid playing with Legos. Like that's
Yeah.
my opportunity to kind of like just to get some ideas out and to do things like that, and then also to keep myself sharp and in tune with everything that I'm doing. So yeah, I mean that's my instrument, and so I make sure that I treat it as such. But yeah, that was essentially it. That was my first party, but I was looking to get into clubs. I kind of saw that as my trajectory originally.
And speaking of the clubs, how was that lifestyle for you? Because I remember coming to New York to see you perform a few times. And how did that transition from getting into the nightclubs? How did you get into the nightclub, first of all? Because a lot of these kids, I get a lot of being a booker at the Falls Lounge for so many years. I get a lot of cold emails and just people that have never even been to the venue trying to get in. What was your angle on trying to get? Did you have a lot of hit and miss, a lot of swing and fails? How did that
Yeah,
process work out for you in
of
order
course.
to
I
get your
mean,
foot in the door?
it definitely comes with that, right? So I was fortunate enough to work at the Scratch DJ Academy. Like that was at 17 years old, I got that internship. And from that kind of turned into a actual paid opportunity as like as an actual teacher, right? So I became one of the instructors just due to, I won't share the story, but it was like a right place, right time situation. And I was able to take advantage of that. But while I was doing that, I was delivering equipment and gear to other DJs. So they would book bigger DJs for corporate events, for private events, things like that. And I'll never forget, they sent me to, it was a fashion week party for this DJ, Todd Malice, who he's out the game now. He has like an architectural firm, which it's super dope. He's out in Cali as well. But I attribute my immediate club success to that guy because he put me in an opportunity, he put me in a position to be able to be at the best nightclubs in New York. I would have never, there would no way I didn't have any relationships. I didn't know anybody in the industry. I wasn't someone who was out. I was 19 years old when I DJed my first club, maybe even 18, if I'm not mistaken, 18, 19 years old. And it came from that opportunity. I went and delivered the equipment for him. He was like, why don't you just hang out on the boat and come chill with me? He was super nice, super cool. And then he was like, hey, what are you doing later? And I was like, nothing. I'm going to bring this gear back and blah, blah, blah. And he's like, yeah, why don't you come meet me at Bungalow 8? Now I'm thinking that's the song here out of in rap records. You're like, there's no way I'm getting into that club.
Yeah.
I don't even have a fake ID. I'm not trying to get into the clubs at this point. And he's like, don't worry about it. Just come through, come at this time and go. So I saw that as an opportunity for myself. And I went and I hung out with him. We struck up a relationship and then I began to cover for him. So once they saw me spinning there, you then work begets more work. And I was able to kind of like transition into all these other night spots that were around the city. And thank God no one checked ID for me. I wasn't drinking, I wasn't doing anything funny, but it was like just simply putting me in a position to rock the party. And for me being so like very brand new into this, it kind of like hearing how he paced an evening, hearing what records he used, I was like, okay, I got to do this. I got to do that. Like, and I was able to learn so much from him. And then just how he ran his business, how he spoke to his clients, how he discussed, his rates, all those things became so, so, so valuable to me. And I was able to carry that through to this day with everything that I do.
That's amazing. And to have such a mentor with an open door and being an open book to give you that information and allow you to absorb it. But it all started with your selfless act of service, honestly, from being there to provide the equipment for him. Was grateful for that and probably saw a lot of himself in you as a young DJ, aspiring to be somebody in the industry one day, and basically gave you driving lessons.
Yeah, that's right. That's
Yeah,
exactly right. That was it.
that is super dope, man. Now let's talk about, we got through the clubs, right? Now did you decide, are you still doing clubs at all? If they call you,
No.
there's no need to
Yeah.
do clubs.
No, no, no. And then and listen, nothing against it. If the right opportunity came along, I'd be open to it, right? Like you have these opportunities and these moments to play out in public, right? I don't even look at it as like the venue is no longer as important, right? There's coffee shop parties, there's
Right.
lounges, there's this, there's that, there's all these like outdoor parties. So really, I think I want to be where the people are for sure. I wouldn't see myself doing like a 10 a.m. to 4 a.m. like I used to, like just that nightlife kind of lifestyle it's incongruent to where I am now presently as a father and, business owner and things like that. It's not conducive to that. But to go do a set at a club, yeah, I'd be open to doing it, but I haven't in such a long time. Like I've done just private events, corporate events, and obviously all the sports work that I'm involved with.
Yeah, which is totally different worlds. I mean, as far as a club event is more of an exchange of energy, and you are reading the room and providing the music that will take them where you want them to go through a night. But a sporting event, I spoke to Vic One on here a few months back, and to have that control of a stadium, right? That's a different kind of reading the room, right? That's engaging with the game, having the emotion of the game into the music, and that's a different form of communication. It's almost more cerebral, I would think, because you are affecting people subliminally more than you are in a nightclub because they're right there. In a stadium, it's kind of like they're more combined as a whole, as a unit, as a crowd, especially with the home team. Am I right on that?
Yeah, absolutely. I think for me, it is such a cerebral thing. You're using a different kind of muscle completely than you would to DJ a nightclub and a party, right? And for us, it's like we have a scripted amount of material that we have to get through. And in addition to that, create the vibe, create the energy, support the sport of whatever it is, like support the action that's going on the court or on the field and all that. And so we're scoring, or, that role of music director, you're scoring that entire day and evening from the moment that those people walk in through the doors to when they leave. And you have every demographic. Normally, when you're going to go DJ a club, you're safe with this playlist because I got this demographic in there. It's this group of people. And generally they're going to probably be into this type of music and whatnot. When you think about a sporting event, at a 3 p.m., they're gonna have a different type of vibe. It's gonna be a different type of energy. It's gonna be a lot of kids in the crowd. It's got to be family friendly. Also thinking about content, so it's not just
Yes.
having clean music. So there's a lot of organizational stuff. There's a lot that goes on prior to our match, and so many meetings, and it's such a collaborative effort. Whereas if you're DJing at a nightclub or just doing it's just you go rock out, do your thing, and it's your vision completely. And for me, I'm supporting a vision of the game director and the sports team and what they represent, and so that becomes a little bit more of that part of my brain that I'm exercising for those things.
Not to mention all the production that goes in between. It's not just you DJing a game. There's commercial breaks. There's timeouts. There's pauses, and there's halftime. There's
Yeah.
production on the court, performances on the court. So it's just a lot of different things to deal
Elements like
with.
to factor, yeah, no, and you got to think about it also. There's audio interference. There's issues that happen. There might be an anthem singer who shows up, but this has happened to me recently. This is why, like, it's fresh in my mind, where the guitarist didn't plug his amp in. So now we have to hit the clock at a certain time. Like, this
Yeah,
is
timing.
television. This is all the thing.
Yeah,
So they're like, they cut to me, and I had to be ready with the national anthem to play that. Right. So there's things that you have to be prepared with whatever you're going to do, and then you have to have another whole set of contingency circumstances and situations to continue to not lose the energy that you have in any of these respective games.
definitely. One thing I admire about you is, well, one of the many things, but one thing majorly is your growth mindset. You seem to have a athlete's mentality. I recognize that because I have it myself, starting out as an athlete before I was a DJ, and being in the sports world. Obviously, you have to have some psychological connection to competition and sports in order to provide the correct soundtrack. Where does that come from for you? Did it come from sports growing up, or did it come from family or struggle? What kind of struggle has built DJ Mode's mentality?
I mean, for me, the struggles informed who I am today. Like, my whole entire childhood, everything that I experienced, any hardships, any setbacks, all the things that, again, like I told you, the kind of like the restrictions that could have been seen as like super duper obstacles that could have stopped me. I didn't have the best equipment, didn't have the funds to get the best of the best, and I'm shopping in the dollar record bins just to find classic copies of things, and going through all that stuff just made me be, resilient, and also helped me to be able to make make lemonade out of lemons, right? Like, to be able to take these things and what I have and work best with what I have, and play to my strengths, right? In terms of my work ethic and everything like that, I think that starts out faith-based. I think for me, it's like everything that I do unto God. I got to be the best that I can be at that. Like, I got to look at myself in the mirror at the end of the day and be like, did you really put in your best efforts, right? And so that, to me, definitely evolved. It got better, right? You have this growth mindset. I start reading. I attribute a lot of what the way that I approach business and work through the Relentless book, by Tim Grover. That mindset of just like saying, listen, I am going to work at this. I'm going to control my situation. I'm going to control what I bring to the table. I'm going to control, all my variables, right? What can I get better at? I'm going to audit myself. I'm going to be honest about where I am in my business, where can I get better? Is it communication? Is it in this or that area? And making sure that I'm not just sitting idly by and saying, well, I know how to DJ really well, so that's it. Like, that's all I'm going to need to do. And that's going to be my competitive advantage because I'm just such a great DJ. Like, we all have that mentality. We all, as DJs, we're all great at what we do. If you've done it long enough, there's incredible talent all over the place. But to continue to work at it and continue to work at building your brand and building your relationships and all the kind of the soft skills that we don't focus on as DJs, that's what's given me longevity. And I'm just grateful that that was the case.
Yes, the marathon over the track meet. And I love that you mentioned Relentless, Tim Grover. I love that book. I love his mentality and his approach on improvement, and the work it takes to be the best version of yourself, which is big. And I think everybody needs some Tim Grover in their life, someone in their ear, holding them accountable as a trainer and as a mentor. And, I'm so grateful for you sharing that information because a lot of people aren't getting that. Like you said, they want to just DJ and show up and do that and be great. And there's so much more to it. The relationships, the way you carry yourself, your professionalism, you're on time, the way you present yourself, the way you dress, the way you speak, the way you show up. Are you on point? Are you inebriated? Like, there's so many factors that go into being a professional, and the longevity in the career that you want to have in order to raise your family off of a dream, basically. And there's so much personal development that goes into that, and a lot of people are missing that point. And I see careers burn out, every year. I wanted to ask you about. I did also love the mention of the faith. You have to have this incredible amount of faith in a higher source to believe that you've been inspired for a reason, and it starts with not only being a great DJ, but being a great person. Being a great person is going to unlock so much more than just being a great DJ. And that's going to
For
create these
sure.
opportunities for you. And people, it's not who you know or what you know, it's who likes you, right? Who loves you? Who do you uplift when you're around? That's who people hire continuously. That's how you keep clients coming back for more, is the way that you make them feel, not just through the music, but also during the pre-meetings and the behind closed doors and the phone calls and the emails. Your tone and your composure through it all is what is actually doing the winning for you. I wanted to talk about the business angle of it, because a lot of DJs have a hard time making that transition, myself included, coming from a weekly nightclub DJ, waiting for the promoter to come out the bathroom with his buddies, getting high all night, or bullshitting with girls, waiting to get paid, and developing my patience to, without being tainted on getting your money right, because a lot of DJs get taken advantage of. Right? I believe if you haven't been taken advantage of as a DJ, you can't call yourself a real DJ, right? Just like
That's the truth.
if you haven't had your shit stolen and you came back and rebuilt your whole shit, or lost the residency and came back and got another one, like, if you haven't not dealt with adversity, you cannot call yourself a real one. But I did want to touch on the business aspect of it with you, because it is difficult, especially when you start dealing with corporate clients that have a lot of paperwork. How did you kind of manage all that? Do you have an attorney? Did you read up on business? Is that part of the curriculum at Scratch Academy that you learn on how to draw up a contract? I know with AI now, there's a lot of advantages you can make through ChatGPT and drawing up stuff for you, but most people don't do it, and they end up losing in the end, or the client loses because the DJ flakes. Like, what was your business transition like, and how did you establish yourself?
For sure. For me, again, it was like trial by fire, right? I had to have those falling moments where, like, I failed at it, where I didn't get it right, where I did make a mistake, and I left money on the table, or I was anxious and desperate, and and I negotiated myself out of a gig, or I could have gotten more, and I didn't understand my true value in this space. Through time, again, I just educated myself on everything. And of course, you got to get the right people in your team to be able to take care of the things that I'm never going to be able to do my own taxes, right? Like, I got a great CPA. Attorneys for all of the production stuff, like, I yield to their expertise for sure. But on a day-to-day basis, and managing and running your own business and brand, that is something that it comes with a ton of growing pains and a lot of ups and downs. Everyone thinks that it's just like, I'm just a super dope DJ, you should just hire me, and that's it. But you're so right in mentioning all those other moments and all those other elements that will make them choose you year after year, instead of I'm not the cheapest guy on the block. Like, I'm not the most affordable.
Me
I'm not the
neither.
cost effective guy, right? Not at all. Like, after we've done it, whenever you have 20 plus years of experience in anything, you deserve to get paid as such, right? And so when you come to the table and you're negotiating, what is it that keeps those clients coming back? What is it that you can do to put yourself in a position to continue to maintain that relationship? And it's almost like how athletes do all the work in the off season, and then they show
Yeah.
up for their season, they're rocking it, right? It's
Make
like
it look easy.
you could tell who took the off season off, right? And so when we have our slow seasons, for me, I was like, okay, I could sit here, do nothing, do more music, do whatever, or I could begin to educate myself and put myself in a position to succeed. So started reading books, YouTube University came in handy, and
Yep.
you start to be like, okay, what's the best practices for my business? And now, I share that with my assistant. She's able to communicate as me, and I take that job away from myself now, and now she can handle it. I trust her with that. But we had to lay the groundwork, and you have to do kind of like all your housekeeping and your back of house stuff. And then on top of that, continue to sell yourself and sell your service, and not kind of get into that egotistical place that we're all guilty of, because we're just like, wow, but they saw me DJ. Like, they should just pick up that phone and call me, because there's no reason why that person gave me their card. They know I gave them my card. They told me that they were going to hire me for such event. Your follow-up game has to be great, and you have to be able to walk away and say no to things, right? I think
For
a lot
sure.
of guys are like, and that's what's kind of screwed up our industry, is that, if it was real estate, right? I liken it to real estate. If you and I both have 20 plus years of experience, and we position ourselves on the same block, and we've done this, and both of our resumes are what they are, neither of us should charge less than this, right? And I think,
Right.
unfortunately, you got guys on the same block, or just came in, and they're being positioned as if they're the same thing as those guys that are, that have this type of resume, this type of experience, that is valuable and important for these, specific events or situations. So being able to still sell yourself, being able to not be afraid of that, right? I think it's always been like a shameful thing to talk about money. And if you're not comfortable in this, you got to get comfortable as soon as possible, because they have no problem on the client side, making sure that they take care of themselves on their end. So we have to take care of ourselves on our end, and we have to think about it in a longevity sense. Like, we can't be in a race to the bottom competing with one another and just be like, I'll do it for however much less than that guy.
Yeah,
And it's like,
no.
yeah, and you're gonna price yourself. You're never gonna be able to sustain. You're never gonna be able to have a long career. So for me, I knew that that was the kind of like X factor that I needed to master to be able to have it be a career. Have something that's like creative, is like gig economy. That is what pays my bills for the year. You know.
Right. Making your own schedule, choosing the things that you find fulfilling in life rather than just
Exactly. It's
doing a
like
job.
designing your life, right? Like, if that was my goal, and I'm able to create the ideal situation for myself, what does that look like? How much does that cost to do? Like, all of those things, and then you have to kind of work backwards from that. And
I love that.
yeah,
Designing your life. I love that. It's, Jim Rohn, I think I heard that first from
you
him.
coin that. Okay,
If your life's not designed, somebody else is designing it for you. And
there
who
you
wants
go.
to live in a house that, the feng shui ain't right for you? And then you're doing a great job at designing that. I want to talk
Thank you,
about some
man.
of your partnerships and the production side of it. Founder of the My Music Experience. Now, is that a production company? What's going on with that?
Yeah, it's just an entertainment agency. So I have DJs and producers that work under me, that we handle private clients and corporate clients. So that could be anything from Fashion Week, and programming the music for a show is one thing we've done. Cadillac commercial, and we work with Spike DDB on their She's Gotta Have It series for Netflix, which was really fun. So, we're doing everything top to bottom: production, musicians, voiceover artists, everything like that, and we're offering that as a service. So, and then again, that was birthed out of, I can't be everywhere at once, right? So how can I create opportunities for other DJs, other talent that I think is great, that I think should get the opportunity, that maybe is not as great at, the communication side of things, that arm of our business, and do our best to kind of like help and get opportunities for others, and do for others what people have done for me, which is putting me in a position to succeed.
Right. Being of service to others is the ultimate way to gain wealth. And like you said, you can't be everywhere at once. So might as well put the people that are deserving and worthy of fulfilling that slot that you can't fill. Right.
That's it.
Also,
That's it. Yeah. Yeah, for
let's talk
sure.
about the Symphony Number Three rum. I haven't got a bottle, so I've
Fair
seen
enough.
I seen Rick got a bottle, a Nufania all got a bottle. I'm the Cali Rican over here on the West Coast. Let me know if I got to pay for shipping, but
My
tell
brother,
me how
listen,
that.
you gonna have a light in the dark in the mail. As soon as I'm
All
out here, I'm
right.
making some phone calls. I got
All
you.
right. Well,
Yeah,
tell me
no,
how that came about. Are you
it's
part of the distilling process or just part of the promotion of it? Like, how did
yeah.
that go down and what's it about?
So it's cool. So Symphony Number Three was started by a young kid from the Bronx. So he's a really good friend of mine. I known him for over 17 years, and he's someone who I truly believe in his vision, and how he's kind of like looking to put his own take on spirits, and in that space, in that kind of like alcoholic beverage space. So for him, he had that vision. He had two partners, and we all supported him, right? So all of our friends, everybody kind of galvanized behind him. In year three, one of the partners dropped out, and that opened up an opportunity for other investors to come in. So at the top of last year, I invested into the company, and definitely, I help out with events and things like that. Obviously, whatever resources I have, I share with the business. But it's something that's been running now. We're in our fifth year altogether, and we're in Puerto Rico. We're all across the United States. We're in all the Soho houses. We have really great placements. We're in Yankee Stadium. So
Beautiful.
we are, yeah. And then in your local kind of grocery stores, we can be found really all over the country. And that grew again in 5 years, not a major brand, nothing super like with no big push behind us. So I'm excited for how things are going, and we're continuing to build on it brick by brick, brick by brick. But it's delicious. I'm not being just being biased. It's an incredible rum, and and again, out of that Caribbean spirit, it's big in Puerto Rico, big in Latin America, and she just had this vision for it, and the way it's all come together, the fact that it's called Symphony and that I'm involved with it because it's musical, like the synergy and the alignment was there for me. So I was excited to be a part of that.
That's amazing. Yeah, and the spirits game is big. I mean, that's forever money. That's creating a legacy for you and your family, and the culture, obviously, with the rum, being Puerto Rican and holding it down for the Boricua
Yes, sir.
familia out there. That's a beautiful thing. Let's talk about the soccer games. Let's talk about MSG. Let's talk about the stadium stuff. You got a ring in 2021, I believe, from the football club, right? Does that kind of is it the same feeling as an athlete getting that ring? Because you're kind of like the sixth or what is it, seventh man on the soccer field, right? Like
Yeah,
you're creating the vibe you're inspiring them. You're this coach that's giving that big speech all through the game.
right.
How is that experience with the players? Like, do you have a relationship with the players? They send in a list. Do you know the guys? Do you shoot the shit with them? Like, how does that dynamic work?
Yeah, it's pretty dope. So I've been with the New York City FC for this is my 10th season with them, and
Congratulations.
thank you, man, thank you. Yeah, and winning the ring, that was an incredible experience, right? Like as a DJ, you're not expecting to get a pro sports ring, so to have an actual MLS ring that was unexpected, and it's truly fortunate to be able to do that. As far as how we run the games and everything like that, yeah, I have a great relationship with a lot of the players, and we do chat here and there. It'll be like a random DM, they'll send me like a YouTube video, things like that. But I've been fortunate enough to be able to kind of like be at the helm, and they just trust me with the music. Like I'm kind of like they hands off, right? With the exception of the collaborative experiences when we're making music for the videos, or if I'm producing a piece of content to underscore a moment. Like we had our legends coming out and things like that, which I produce original content and original music for them, and they're pretty trusting of my point of view in terms of music. So that's pretty dope, and it's just an incredible experience. We have anywhere from 18 to 24,000 fans per match, and it's a thrill, man. Like it's a challenge to keep every game sounding fresh and new, right?
Yeah.
Like you have your big records of the day, and you're like, oh man, like I played it last week? Do I play it again? Does it have the same impact, right? And so you really have to get super creative with how you are programming the evening and
Yeah.
and stuff like that. Yeah.
And you
So
mentioned it's more of an international base. I mean, soccer is a global sport, so it's not just the hits that are here on the radio. These are hits that come from their country, from their culture, from
that's
each
right.
individual player, not only for the players but also for the fans that are watching. Right, everywhere from it's a global sport, so you have to kind of be able to tap into the universe and create that
Yeah.
straight up
Yeah.
the infinite
Yeah.
universe and create that soundtrack. And another thing I love about your style, which is, similar to mine, obviously, that's probably why I love it, is the storytelling. You're not just playing songs, you're taking people on a musical journey. You mentioned a lot about how, music can take you to a memory. It creates nostalgia, just like certain scents can, or certain visuals can take you somewhere. And music is really that one thing, like nothing else, can take you literally
Yeah, it
to
literally,
many
bro. It,
places.
it, exactly. No, you're right. It's such a timestamp for special moments. Like that truly is the soundtrack of our lives. Like we are going through life. If you're going through heartbreak, you're listening to a certain music. You're having your first child, then there's music that comes along with that. There's so many scoreable moments in our lives, right? And so I think for me, when I'm playing these matches, whether the fans are receiving it consciously or subconsciously, I'm helping to tell a story, right? I'm telling a New York story. I'm telling a sonic kind of like, an envelopment of like all that encompasses New York and all of the different kind of flavors and all the different types of people and styles and genres that we can go through, and layering that with whether it be little small vocal undertones, or it's like a random acapella, or it's like a sample or an old classic, like things like that get me excited to be able to kind of like keep this through line through the
Yeah, the,
game,
the
right?
little ear treats, the little soundbite treats that you can touch an individual, right? And then get everyone on the same page on that emotion that you touched in that individual, and then have the whole room and stadium feel that
Absolutely.
same thing that that one person felt. I just got the chills talking about it
No,
because
it's
I
so
see
true.
it
I'm
happen.
telling
I
you,
know you have
there
that.
no, totally. When I produced the music for our starting 11, that we still play the same one, right? Like, so it's like a Bill Conti sample. I got it replayed by a guitarist. But when that drops, like you see it in people's faces, like where it's like the gravity of that moment is there. And again, it's micro and then it's macro. It's like you see maybe one or two people react, then you hear the big. Then when the drums come in, the rest of the people join in because they
Yes.
didn't catch it in the beginning.
Yes.
That to me like sparks so much joy. Like it's incredible to see that many people again collectively. I don't know what's going on at home, I don't know what you showed up with, but right there in that moment you are being present, you're there, you're focused. And I think for us, music is such a powerful tool to be able to again affect our own day, right? The playlist that we put on to affect our mood. Working out, you need music and this and that. How much more so for these events where it's like you can score these moments and heighten in a tennis match a good rally. You could heighten, oh my God, they came out at halftime and it's like and it's like now you're kind of like gluing together the memory, of that the people had when they came out to that game. So
Yes,
for
gluing
me it's
together
like
the memory and the present moment. That's when the combination happens, right? That's
absolutely.
when the magic hits, when those two collide. The memory and being in the present moment. Whoo,
Exactly.
that's powerful
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah, man, for sure. So
Yeah,
it's like to
that's my
yeah.
favorite part of the music is getting the moment and the nostalgia to collide, and that's when the big sparks happen.
That's it. And now like I've affected, like that's legacy right there. That's an opportunity to live past what we do and to be of service, right? Like I am helping form those memories for a lot of people. And I say that with zero ego. I'm like, I am in service of doing this. Like I'm psyched to do this for people. Like this is so fun to see people get excited and have the joy. Or I get a DM after the game and oh my God, when you dropped this like was this and this, it reminded me of this. Like for me to be able to have that impact and that effect on people, I don't take it lightly. I don't take it for granted. Like it's the coolest thing.
Yeah, no, it is the best feeling. And generations too, with a parent or a cousin or family members there sharing that experience of nostalgia and present moment is just untouchable. It's one of the greatest things about doing what we do, and you do it so well.
Thank you, man.
I wanted to talk about future plans, man. I mean, it seems like you are just keep elevating, you keep ascending to new levels. What are DJ Mode's plans in the next 10 years? Is it getting into television production? Is it having more of the business side and the agency side where you're filling voids around the city, trusting off of the name that you've built through your music and storytelling? Where are we going with DJ Mode in the next 10 years?
Yeah. So for me, I can't imagine stopping DJing. Like I just can't. It's not there, not in my thought to do. I'm excited to do this for as long as I can, as long as I'm able to. However, it's the skeleton key for everything else that I do. And so the opportunity to grow my business, to grow my music experience to, a greater agency and to have, again, be in a position to create these humongous opportunities that maybe took me 20 plus years to attain and relationships and rooms to be in and kind of dominion over those spaces. I'm able to pass that on to the next group of talent and have that live on past me. Uh, and then also with the production stuff, like I feel like I have a lot more to offer in that space and like getting the right projects and potentially scoring, film, television, commercials, video games. Like these are all things that are on the vision board and targets that we're going to hit. And it's only a when, not if.
Yeah.
So in the next 10 years, for sure, at each of those goals, we're going to walk down and accomplish. So for me, it's exciting to think about the future because we have so much to pull from, like our wealth of knowledge and our kind of like I liken it to like a crayon box. Like now we're drawing, right? You and I are
Yeah.
DJs, but we have the 144 color
We got
pack.
the
You know what I
palette.
mean?
We
Like
got the
we
whole
got the whole
palette.
jar. Yeah, we got literally
We got
like
the we got the exclusive bundle, the huge bundle, the limitless bundle.
absolutely. So for us, right, as long as we continue to stay curious, stay current, stay up on the, the musical trends and the things that are there, we could continue to be that bridge between, the old school and the new school, right? And then just quality control, right? Like you're going to be able to give the audience and educate the audience in a way that a new DJ is not going to be able to ever do that. So I welcome that. I'm excited to kind of further that along and in my journey to continue to offer that to people. Yeah. I mean, that's what I think for the next 10 years looks like.
I love it. I see it happening for you already. As the prophet that I am, I see you scoring video games. I mean, you got all the experience it takes. You've been in the stadiums, right? Scoring movies, scoring commercials. It's all on its way. Believe that.
Your mouth to God's ears, brother. Appreciate
Straight
it.
up. I wanted to touch on one thing I'm always big on here on Truth from the Booth is the work-life balance. You mentioned your family, you have a child. How do you stay sane in an insane world? What are some of the things you rely on, rituals or exercise routines or time for yourself? What are some of the things that DJ Mo does to keep his head straight and able to continue to collect and consume while still able to express and generate energy for yourself?
Yeah. So for me, it's where, we've been fortunate enough to be DJs, right? We didn't have to worry too much about time management. When you woke
Right.
up was a little bit different, or it wasn't as important as it is now for me, right? So
Yeah.
for me, it's time management. And, on the days that my son is with me here, it's important for me to make sure that I can't do my job well. I can't pour from an empty cup, right? So I to make sure that I take that morning, like I wake up at 5 a.m. every day now. And that was tough to create that habit. I'm not going to front and be like, yeah, I've been doing this. And it's like, it was the
No, it
easiest
is
transition.
tough.
No,
Yeah.
super tough, right? Like, so it was a mind over matter thing, but now it's such a habit. I can't live without it and I can't not do it. So it's just taking my moment in the morning. I'll make my coffee. I read the Bible. I read a chapter. I'll journal out. I'd sit for a second. It's like, just sitting in silence, no phone, like throw it over there. And I give myself that time to kind of like set myself up mentally, emotionally for the day. I'm awake, I'm full, I'm ready. And now I'm ready to meet my kid with that energy of like, okay, we're ready to tackle the day. And
Yes.
I think our children learn so much from what we do and who we are versus like what we tell them. So it's about me being the best example of, again, time management, taking care of yourself, taking care of your health. And I want him to be a part of that and to see that and to see me operating in that space. And then when it's work time, before it would take me a minute to snap into it. But now I've just got a small window of time to accomplish these tasks. I
Yeah.
get right to work, right? Like it's like not allowing those distractions to come in, throw the phone on do not disturb, and I get busy and I knock out what I have to knock out. And if I just didn't create that discipline for myself, I'd be lost because there's days, again, we're not perfect. There's all these variables that you can't control. Things may happen that'll throw that off a little bit, but at least having that muscle memory to be like, tomorrow I'm gonna get back into it, and making sure I do has been helpful for me.
How old is your son? His son, right?
Yep, I have a
How
son.
old is
He's
he?
5 years
5 years old. Man, it's a beautiful thing. My eldest just turned 21 yesterday.
old. Dude, I saw that. I can't even believe it. I can't. I'm like, yeah, I saw him. He was like this. I was like, it was like,
Hi. Yeah,
and now he's a
yeah. I
grown
think
ass
last time you were
man.
out here, we hung out at the apartment when I had the apartment back in
Yeah,
the day. He's
yeah.
probably 5, your son's age.
Yeah, man. He was,
Yeah.
young dude. I was so wild, man. Wow. Well, God
Yeah, so
bless him,
now I got myself a little intern for the club. You know what I mean?
man. That's right. You got a roadie. You got to come
I
across
do.
everywhere.
So, and I got
That's
my
awesome.
16-year-old son, and then Zeta, my 8-year-old daughter. But it is definitely they have given me a deeper purpose. And like you said, they don't just hear what you say; they watch and emulate how you move. And throughout my career, I have evolved immensely. And my firstborn son was, he got the rough draft of who I have become today. But in turning 21 yesterday, I'm proud to say that he's seen the evolution of his father in that time frame, and as he becomes a man and enters into the world at 21 years old, he's had that example of the struggle, of the complications, the failures, on how to persevere through those things and continue on your path of your career without giving in and making the most of it and being successful. And successful is just setting yourself a goal and working towards it every day until you achieve. It's not about the destination, it's about the journey. And to see
Absolutely.
that journey is definitely inspiring. And that's the reason why I had you on here today, because such an inspiring story, man. Not just because you're my friend, but as an outsider watching you and as a man grow through because of his passion, becoming a father, and continue to escalate to the upper echelon of success and career and so much further to go. That's what this show is all about, to inspire others to see that journey and recognize the struggle and the strength that it takes to persevere in this crazy thing called life, and living off of your art and talent and passions, because too many people are just consumed with existing rather than creating. I think that's where a lot of depression and sadness and unfulfillment comes, because we were put here, you spoke on faith, in God's image as creators. And if we're not creating, there's a void in our life that isn't fulfilled, which causes problems. And people like you and myself and other guests we have had on here and are having, hopefully can inspire some of that next gen to continue on their path of passion and chasing their dreams and attracting their goals.
100%, man. It's really about being aligned with, truly, like, do that audit on yourself. Like, what's the thing that lights you up that you would do, that they can't stop you from doing? That no matter how many hours you're working, you're like, I still go home and I write, still take photos, I still play the piano, I still do XYZ. Like, you have to find that alignment. And again, to your point of how your kids they see your work ethic. They see how much you put into this, and now you're seeing the fruits of that labor, right? It's like, that shows resilience, that shows sticking with it, that shows that you're committed to this. This is not just you do this because you have a passion for the craft, for the culture, for the art form. You're not doing it to look cool, although you look very cool when you do it. It's not for those reasons, right? So it's like you want to be able to, again, be aligned with what it is you truly want to do, and don't get into that creative space just because you see other people doing it. Do it only if this really lights you up and excites you. I love to see brand new DJs coming out that are truly inspired to learn and appreciate the art form for what it is and take it to the next stratosphere. Like, I love to see that. I love to see, take this piece of technology and now what can you do with it? Like, and I'm excited to see what's to come. But it's only going to come from actual passionate people getting into what it is that they're meant to be doing. Like, you're meant to be in the spaces that you are. And so it's something that once you're there, you'll know, this is my spot. I own this. This is like me, right? Like, when you get behind the set, you're like, I got this. This is my control board right here. Like, I'm going to like take you on the Starship Enterprise. You're going to do your thing. And so for me, I think that's the most important thing, is like sharing that message with people to make sure that they can figure out a way to come aligned with what it is that they truly love to do. And they'll be a lot happier for sure.
No doubt. Well, Mode, man, I appreciate you coming on here, taking the time to speak on your journey and inspire our listeners and watchers to continue or start on theirs. And I want to let people know where they can find you on the socials, YouTube, all the, I don't know if you're a TikToker, if you're a Snapchatter, or whatever you want to give out. I know you're on Mixcloud. Let people know where they can hear and see DJ Mode.
Of course. Well, listen, the easiest and best way I could tell people is to @DJ Mode NYC on Instagram. And then in my bio is the link, and it has everything that I've done for the most part. And so, SoundCloud, Mixcloud, TikTok, all the things are on there.
Beautiful, man. Well, thank you so much for being on here and a guest of mine. I can't wait to link up with you in real life, either on the West or East Coast. You're a busy man. I probably got to make a trip out there, but I'm way overdue. So we're definitely going to make it happen sooner than later. DJ Mode, thank you for sparing us some time to express yourself and share on your journey of immaculate success. Wishing you nothing but continued blessings as you climb that ladder of success, escalator style. You know what I'm saying?
No, man, you're very welcome, brother. And I appreciate you. I appreciate you having me on, man. This is really dope. I appreciate this. This is a dope platform. I love that you're doing this right now. Like, keep it up, man. Keep up the great work, man.
Thank you. I appreciate it. And yes, this is Truth from the Booth. I am DJ Prophet. That is DJ Mode. Check him out online. If you're at a game in New York, look for my man up in the sound booth, creating that vibe for the entire stadium, and much bigger things to come here in the near future. Thank you. Thanks for tuning in. Make sure you subscribe, like, and comment on the episode. Sharing is caring. We have recently reached 104 subscribers, all right? So from 0 to 104 in 8 weeks. I believe this is episode 9 of Truth from the Booth. So make sure, like I said, subscribe and help us along on our journey, because we ain't going nowhere.
Yes, sir.
Except straight to the top. Let's go.
That's right.
Truth from the Booth. Until next time, I'm DJ Prophet. That's DJ Mode. And this is how we do it. Bam, bam, bam. And we're out.